The following program is made possible by generous gifts from partners of Benny Hinn Ministries and viewers like you in this area.
Stress simply means the absence of control. Mark my words. Whatever you are stressed about is the thing that you have the least amount of control over. Here's the antidote. It's going to amaze you. It's going to upset you. It's even going to unnerve you.
Today, Pastor Benny Hinn invites Pastor Jamal Bryant to share with you the antidote for stress in your life. Coming up, Pastor Benny is going to Israel again this year. On November 8th for 10 days, you can experience the sights and sounds of Jerusalem, identify with the same streets that Jesus walked, be baptized in the same place that Jesus was baptized in. Enjoy the teaching of the Word from Pastor Benny right from the steps of David in front of the temple. If you are interested, call the ministry or go online and ask about the upcoming trip to the Holy Land with Pastor Benny Hinn. Plan today. You will never regret taking a trip like this.
Something big is getting ready to happen for you. I believe that with everything that's in me. I'm Pastor Jamal Bryant, and this is my incredible privilege to sit in for Pastor Benny on This Is Your Day. And I believe that this is not just a slogan, not a catchphrase, but it is a prophetic proclamation over your life that this is your day to be debt-free, depression-free, disease-free, and drama-free. Absolutely no stress is going to be able to get under your skin today, because he that the Son sets free is free indeed. If in fact you will take this journey with me, that you will in fact believe before this program is over that the Holy Spirit is going to free you from all of your stress. Here in the United States, thousands of families, after hearing about the death of Osama bin Laden, were finally freed from post-traumatic stress. After incurring the pain and the anguish of seeing thousands of their family members taken in one day after 9/11, to hear that their tormentor had finally been diminished, they were excited, freed, and released to go on with the rest of their lives. On January 18th, 1991, Saddam Hussein launched his first Scud missile attack on the nation of Israel. And the doctors noted something that was absolutely alarming, that the death rate on that day in 1991 went up by 54%. But here's what's amazing, that the death rate gone up from heart attacks was not from those who in fact had been hit by Scud missiles, but from those who had the fear about the Scud missiles landing. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a greater attack in their minds than the missiles that hit their bodies. You will be amazed, alarmed, and even surprised to know how many people have been wounded psychologically, and as a consequence, it has an effect on their bodies. Today, the Lord is getting ready to free your mind from everything that is stressing you so that you might be able to move forward in a healthy place. Ladies and gentlemen, there are over 200 hills in Jerusalem, and one of the greatest faults of the enemy is when he picked which hill our Savior would be crucified. He picked a hill called Golgotha. Golgotha means the place of the skull. And isn't it amazing that the skull protects and insulates the mind? And where our Savior died was, in fact, a place to fight for our minds, to fight for our sanity, and to fight for our thoughts. When Jesus was crucified, it was not for cars, clothes, or for money. It was so that our thoughts might be set free. And ladies and gentlemen, it is my divine assignment to release to those of you who are watching to know that you're getting ready to be set free from everything that's been holding your mind hostage. A mind that is upset will upset the body. I want to say that again. I want you to digest that. I want you to marinate on it, and I want you to believe it. An upset mind will upset the body. Researchers have found that a mind, which is the psyche, produces sickness in the body, which is soma. And as a consequence, they've come up with the expression psychosomatic, that what happens in the mind has a direct impact on what's going on in the body. 2/3 of all doctor visits are in fact those that have been generated by what's been going on in the mind. So psychosomatic diseases, in fact, they are in fact all around us every day, whether you realize it or not, from stroke, from diabetes, from heart attacks, from arthritis, even from asthma, from allergic reactions. Most of those begin with the mind. So what is happening in the mind has a direct impact and effect on what's going on in the body. Here's the problem, is that scientists, when they go into laboratories, when they're trying to come up with a prescription for psychosomatic diseases, trying to come up with medication, they almost look at us as grown-up laboratory animals, that we're no different than the laboratory animals that they experiment with. The problem is that those laboratory animals are only two-dimensional. They're only mind and body. But we're above the animal kingdom. Why? What separates us from any other animal in the animal kingdom? Not that we can come up with tools, not that we just have feelings, but what makes us different from a chimpanzee, from an orangutan, from a hippopotamus, what is it, Pastor Bryant? Is that we are different from animals simply because we were made in the image and in the likeness of our God. The animals cannot boast that claim, but surely we can. So being psychosomatic really leaves out a missing integer on our healing. Because of that, we cannot just be psycho, which is the mind, soma, which is the body. We are also pneuma, which is the spirit. And because our pneuma is an integral part of who it is that we are, our pneuma is our spirit, it is our soul that feeds our mind, that has a direct consequence to our bodies. Would you watch this? If in fact there's somebody who's watching today who in fact just lost their job, their mind is going 1,000 miles an hour. How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to make sure there's a roof over my head? How am I going to make sure that I'm going to be able to meet the car note and take care of my insurance premiums? My mind is going forward. But when my mind is going forward, it's sending a signal to my body. And when it's sending a signal to my body does not have the ability to filter out the signal that my mind is sending. So my body begins to go off on an alarm. Something is wrong. When that then happens, watch what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is that all kinds of enzymes are released, is that our adrenaline begins to speed up, our muscles begin to tighten, our body begins to cramp, our blood begins to get hot. Why? Because our body doesn't understand what's happening with our mind. That's only in two different dimensions. But we're three-dimensional. In our third dimension is our spirit. Our spirit is yearning for a direction and a connection with God. And when our spirit cannot hear from God, it then sends a signal to our mind. Something is missing. Our body then begins to shut down. Something is absent because we're going now from two-dimensional to three-dimensional. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to speak to you at your core, because what is hurting for you is not necessarily your body. It is not a perpetual migraine headache, but your spirit is yearning and hungry for something at a whole different level. And until your spirit is able to make contact with God, there will always be that void. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to challenge you in this hour to begin going into prayer, not for what's going on in your mind, not for what you're feeling in your body, for what your spirit yearns for. Tommy Tenney, a few years ago, wrote a profound book entitled God Chasers. And in this book, he said that a generation must arise that will chase after the things of God. I hope in this moment that your spirit will realize that clothes won't do it for you, money won't do it for you, promotion won't do it for you, alcohol won't do it for you, drugs will not do it for you. But when your body is able to make a connection with God, things will be able to find themselves in a lined up direction. We're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, holistic healing. And in that holistic healing, we understand that Jesus is our great physician. Let's talk about those three components, if we can, for just one moment. The spirit is, in fact, born out of a need to know that God exists and he exists in me. The mind interprets what it is that's going on with the spirit, and if there is no connection, we find what we call stress. And when there is stress, there's anger, there is hostility, there's worry, and then there's anxiety. I graduated some years ago from Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, in the United States. And I'll never forget an experiment was taking place while I was yet a student. And here's what happened. They put two different groups of students in the classrooms. One was classroom Z, the other one classroom N. They put them in both of those classrooms distinctively and gave them trying and testing math problems that they had to try to calculate. Both of those classrooms, classroom N, classroom Z, had 50 minutes to figure out the answer to these mathematical equations. In both classrooms, classroom N and in classroom Z, music was piped in. And ladies and gentlemen, here's where we get to the crisis of the matter. In classroom Z, they could control the sound of the music. In classroom N, they could not control it. In classroom Z, when they figured out that they could turn the music down, they did so immediately, and they were able to answer all of their problems more fluidly. In classroom N, where they had no control, one of two things happened. Either they did not complete the assignment or they got more answers wrong. This is where the doctors in North Carolina figured out that stress is one basic definition, and I want you to get this today. Stress simply means the absence of control. Mark my words. Whatever you are stressed about is the thing that you have the least amount of control over. Here's the antidote. It's going to amaze you. It's going to upset you. It's even going to unnerve you. Is that when you get to that stress level, how do you fix it, Pastor Bryant? Very simply, by using faith. Faith, ladies and gentlemen, is no control. Did that make sense? Of course it didn't. It's a paradox in and unto itself. Faith is understanding I have no control, but I'm in control. In dealing with that kind of faith variable, I understand, God, I'm stressed about a situation. I'm worried about a situation. I'm sleepless about a situation. I'm angry about a situation. But I am now giving all of my no control into the hands of the one who has absolute control. Amazingly, while Jesus was on the cross, he declared, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. He said, while I'm here on this cross, I have absolutely no control, but I give the situation into the hands of the one who has all control. And ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I want to declare unto you, if you want to live a stress-free existence, everything you have no control over, put it into the hands of the one who has absolute control. Jesus is our great physician. He talks about being a physician more than any other occupation. The Bible is replete of his examples of talking about a great physician. He talks about being a physician. Never once does he say, I'm a banker. Never once does he say, I'm an accountant. Never once does he say, I am a therapist. But when he defines himself, he says, I am the great physician. And when we talk about the great physician that Jesus is, there is no greater medical manual than the book of Luke. And in the book of Luke, we find some strange and some startling discoveries about how he's the great physician. The first time that he shows up as the great physician is in Luke chapter 7. And in Luke chapter 7, we find a boy out of a town called Nain. His cause of death is absolutely unknown. All we know is that the family is in a processional, leaving out of the church, headed towards the cemetery, and he's being carried in a box. And Jesus stops the processional, and he puts his hand on the box. I want to say to 500 of you who are watching right now, God is stopping the processional, because the thing that you have been walking towards that's leading you towards your death and your burial is canceled in this moment. He's saying, I'm putting my hand on the situation. And whatever it is that has been causing you a great deal of stress, whether it's a wayward child, an unpaid bill, an occupational hazard, a backstabbing friend, God in this moment is stopping the processional, saying, don't walk in that direction another foot. It is stopped in that moment. And here's what's amazing, ladies and gentlemen. As he puts his hand on the box, he never puts his hand on the boy. He understands, in order for me to stop the stress, I don't even have to touch you. I just have to touch the thing you've been trapped in. And in this moment, strategically, God supernaturally is laying his hand on the thing you've been trapped in. You've been trapped in debt, been trapped in an unhappy marriage, been trapped in domestic violence, been trapped in a relationship, been trapped in an unsupportive ministry. God in this moment is laying his hands on the box. And when he laid his hands on the box, watch this, the boy jumped out. You are getting ready to jump out of that situation because God doesn't want you buried in anything that is causing you stress. Turn the page with me. And when you turn the page, you'll find in Luke chapter 8 that here is a woman who has an issue of blood. Watch this. The doctors had a problem because they are only diagnosing her through two dimensions, her mind and her body, psychosomatic. They thought everything that's going on with her is in her mind and it's affecting her body. But because she understands that she is three-dimensional, pneuma, spirit, psycho, mind, soma, which is body, she then expresses the phraseology, pneumopsychosomatic, that what's in my spirit affects my mind and is now altering my body. Prove it to me, Pastor Brian. I don't believe you. I know you don't. So here it is. I'm right here in the book in Luke chapter 8. And the woman thought to herself, nobody ever told her, something resonated in her spirit that went to her mind that said, my body can be healed, can be fixed, can be transformed, and can be changed. Every time heretofore she went to a doctor, the report says, rather than becoming better, her situation got worse. Ladies and gentlemen, it was not until she changed her mind that her body began to go to a whole nother level. And when she touched the hem of his garment, the something about the power of connection. Watch this, because this is connected to Luke chapter 7. You remember in Luke chapter 7, Jesus never touched the boy. Now one page over in Luke chapter 8, Jesus never touched the woman. She touched something that was touching him. The power of agreement is so heavy. While you're watching this, I want you to know that we are touching in a supernatural way. That while you are not here with me physically, spiritually, we're on the same channel. We're on the same page. And everything that is in your system, in your body, in your mind, that is out of order, I command and decree that all things are working together for good to those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. I want you, if you would, if you have time, go with me to one more chapter. I'm now in Luke chapter 12. Hear what Jesus says. He expends so much energy confronting our stress, dealing with our worry, arresting our anxiety. He said, give no thought to what you're going to eat and what you're going to wear and how it is that you're going to sustain yourself. So look at the lilies of the field. They don't even plant any seeds. They don't even have any barnyards. But look how I clothe them. Look how I take care of them. Look at the birds in the air. Look how it is that I feed them. If I do all of that for lilies and for sparrows, how much more do you think I have about you? Ladies and gentlemen, God cares for you more than he does the flowers or the birds. But he cares for you at such a great level that he said there are three things as of today I don't want you to worry about. What are those three things? Number one, he says, do not worry about what you're going to eat. Food, ladies and gentlemen, is a metaphor, a symbol, or a sign for strength. God is saying in this moment, I am giving you a second wind. I'm giving you strength at a capacity you didn't even know you had. You are not going to break down. You are not going to fall apart. You are not going to wave the white flag. I refuse in this moment to allow you to surrender. Don't you worry about your food, because right now you are getting an extra dosage of strength. He said, don't worry about your food. Secondly, he says, don't worry about your body. Whatever's going on in your body, this battle is not yours, but the battle is the Lord's. I speak absolute wholeness and healing over everything that's going on in your body. That as of this moment, I want to remind you, he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities, and by his stripes we are healed. So give no thought to what's going on in your body, because I've got authority over your body. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you in this moment to operate with crazy faith. I want you to begin laying hands on whatever area of your body has pain, has conflict, has disease, has soreness, has aches. And I want you to begin speaking the power of God over your body, speaking the strength of God over your body, the wholeness of God over your body, believing by faith that if in fact he has the power of the world in his hands, he also has authority over everything that's going on in your body. The last thing he says is, do not become worried or stressed about what you're going to wear. Ladies and gentlemen, surely the master is not talking about designer clothes or Giorgio Armani or Versace or red bottom shoes or the Gap or Macy's. He's not thinking about Levi's. Surely he doesn't care about Wranglers, doesn't care about Guess jeans. What he's saying to you is, I am now clothing you with the whole armor of God. That right now, I'm giving you a complete, total makeover. You're getting a wardrobe change even while you're watching me. He's giving you a brand new pair of shoes. Your shoes are shod in the preparation of the gospel. He's giving you a brand new shirt. I'm giving you the breastplate of righteousness because I got to cover your heart. I'm giving you the helmet of salvation. Why? Because I'm not going to let anything get on your nerves or upset you or drive you to the brink of disaster. Your hands are not empty-handed because I'm giving you the sword of the Spirit so that you can fight your way through it. It says your loins are girded about with truth. I'm covering your reproductive organs so that your progeny, the next generation, your legacy is already secure. Your children and your children's children. When you step out of the house next, please prepare yourself, because people are going to look at you a little bit strange, because the clothes that you now have on, they're not available at the local department store. You can't buy it on eBay. You now have on a wardrobe that is prepared for the season so that you can have everything it is that you need. I'm here in California talking to you, but I'm from Baltimore. And notice something strategically, 5,000 miles from where I live to where it is that I am. When I left Baltimore, it was a balmy 56 degrees. When I arrived into California, it was 68 degrees. I had to take a long journey. But when I finally got to my destination, ladies and gentlemen, the temperature changed. I want to say to you, it's cold where it is that you are right now. It's brittle where it is that you are right now. It's stale where it is that you are right now. But this is not your last stop. You're on your way somewhere. And where it is that God has prepared for you is global warming. The atmosphere is different. The environment is different. And you are prepared for your next place in life. It's amazing to note that the number one cause of divorce in America is finance. Finance even above infidelity. Finance causes so much stress that it can rupture a relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you a critical question. What would you do and how would you dream if finance were not an issue? Finance is so critical that Jesus said to Peter, go down to the lake and go fish. And the first fish you catch, there's going to be a coin in his mouth that's going to pay for my taxes and for yours. The amazing thing about that miracle, ladies and gentlemen, is that Peter never told Jesus that the tax collectors had just talked to him. But Jesus already knew that the bill was outstanding. I want to say to you that whatever financial issue is causing you stress, Jesus already knows about it. And he's getting ready to handle all of your financial issues. When you sow a seed, it will not just bless you, but it'll bless somebody else that's going through. There's something holistic about seed sowing, that you can't sow a seed and be selfish. Jesus said the answer is in the mouth of the fish. And when I catch the fish, it will not pay for the bills of one, but pay for the bills of two. I want to challenge every person who's tuned in, who's logged on, who's watching, who's viewing, who's in this moment, to sow a seed that will not just bless you, but sow a seed that'll bless somebody else. Would you covenant and partner with me? A holistic seed. What is a holistic seed? A holistic seed ends in zero. That I want God to do something holistic that blesses my mind, my body, and my spirit. How's it holistic, Pastor? It ends in zero. So whether that's 1,000, whether that's 500, whether that's 100, or whether it's 40, I want that seed to be whole, which means it ends in zero. I want every person who wants to see somebody else blessed, as well as you want to see your own needs addressed, to send in a holistic seed from my spirit, my mind, and my body. Pastor Bryant, I covenant with you, whether that's 1,000, 500, 100, or even $40. But I'm believing that when I sow this seed, it's going to bless me and bless somebody else.
If this broadcast today has ministered to you and you have the desire to be a blessing to someone else, sow your holistic seed right now. And when you do, you'll not only be giving to this ministry, you will be giving through this ministry as we stretch our hands together across the globe in and throughout this broadcast. Be a blessing today and sow your holistic seed. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Pastor Benny is going around the world, spreading the gospel and changing lives through domestic and international crusades, daily television in more than 200 nations, full support for more than 45,000 children, providing free medical care for more than 100,000 hospital patients per year, massive feeding programs, and much more. At this critical time, your sacrificial giving will produce life-changing results. And if you're not a partner with Pastor Benny, all it takes is $1 a day, $30 a month, to help him share the gospel and care for children and those in need around the world. When you become a partner, you will receive this free instrumental worship CD, as well as the monthly Bible teaching CD, Fresh Manna, by Pastor Benny. Give the best gift you can right now, or become a partner with us. Write, call, or sign up online at bennyhinn.org. Those you help will be forever grateful, and you'll have the satisfaction of knowing that you have had a part in changing lives for the better around the world.